ever feel like you're just drowning in information these days?
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Like 1 minute you're checking the weather and the next you're bombarded with news alerts, social media updates, emails. It's a lot, right? And it just makes you wonder,
Yeah.
how did we get from like simpler times
Right.
to this constant deluge of information? It really makes you think about how we understand the world around us. Like,
Totally. Yeah. And that feeling of being overwhelmed by information.
yeah.
That's actually a perfect jumping off point for our deep dive today.
Okay, cool.
We're going to be talking about scale.
Okay.
But not just like the size of things.
Right.
It's more about how this idea of scale shapes how we understand, well, pretty much everything around us.
Like a lens we don't even realize we're looking through, right?
Exactly. It's subtle, but so powerful.
Okay, so to help us, explore this idea of scale,
Yeah.
you've brought some fascinating material with you today.
I have, yeah.
We're going to be diving into Not to Scale, Jamer Hunt. And this book is really all about how our understanding of scale has, it's changed dramatically.
It really has.
We've gone from this very concrete world of physical measurements to these like much more abstract digital systems and these really complex interconnected networks.
And it's a shift that's happening all around us, all the time.
Okay, so our mission today
Right.
is to uncover the ways that scale, this idea of scale, is influencing how we see the world.
Yeah.
And not just big, important things, like even everyday stuff.
Absolutely. And we're going to really emphasize why understanding these shifts in scale isn't just some like abstract academic exercise. It's actually crucial for navigating the complexities of, modern life.
Like for everyone.
For everyone, exactly.
Okay, cool. So let's jump in.
All right.
The book starts by talking about these physical tools that we used to use, right?
Yes.
Like your spirit levels, thermometers, compasses, even just like a simple wind-up alarm clock. And how we've transitioned to these digital equivalents that are now all like conveniently packed into our smartphones.
Yeah.
It feels almost like magic, doesn't it?
It does. It really does.
Like they're just there.
Yeah. And that's part of the fascinating thing about it. It's like there's this loss of understanding that comes with that convenience,
Okay.
Like those older tools, remember the little bubble in the spirit level?
Oh, yeah.
Or how the mercury would expand in a thermometer?
Uh-huh.
Or the needle of a compass pointing north.
Yeah.
Those things gave us this like very direct physical sense of how things worked.
You could see it, right?
Exactly. You could see it. You could feel it.
Yeah.
They helped us grasp scale and proportion by like turning these invisible forces into something measurable.
It's like you went from just sensing something to actually quantifying it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's a shift from feeling to measuring.
Okay. But now all of those tools are just lines of code.
Right.
And glowing pixels on a screen.
And by 2019, the book points out with app stores offering, millions of different applications, our phones became these incredibly configurable devices.
It's a mind-boggling level of abstraction, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's hard to even grasp the scale of it sometimes.
Right, and this integration of everything into our smartphones.
Yes.
It's had these ripple effects that go way beyond our personal gadgets, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, think about all the sectors of the economy that have been completely reshaped.
Completely.
I mean, things that used to be done by people in physical spaces, like travel agents, your local video rental store.
Right.
I mean, those have basically become algorithms.
Algorithms within these devices.
Right. It's like our connection to the physical world is becoming less direct.
Yeah.
More mediated somehow.
Mediated, yeah.
We're not dealing with the actual thing anymore. We're dealing with
the representation.
The representation of the thing.
Exactly.
Okay, so this raises a pretty fundamental question. What happens when our senses are so engaged in these digital environments?
Yeah.
Where the physical properties of things are like hidden.
That's the key question.
How does that change our ability to orient ourselves using scale?
Right. It makes you wonder.
If we can't feel the weight of something or see how it works, does that change our understanding of its magnitude?
It's like, how do we develop an intuition for scale when the physicality is gone?
Exactly. And that leads perfectly into the book's discussion about the meaning of scale itself.
Yes.
And how it can be, unstable.
Unstable, right?
It's not just about measuring size or weight.
No.
It's like this whole conceptual framework.
Yeah, a framework that shapes how we think.
Okay.
The book actually quotes the Cambridge Dictionary definition.
Yeah.
It defines scale as a set of numbers, amounts, etc., used for measuring or comparing the level of something.
Okay, but scale goes way beyond just that simple definition.
Yeah,
right?
it does, yeah.
I mean, think about it. Musical scales, they organize sound.
Right.
Urban planners work with geographic scale.
Uh-huh.
Businesses track production and sales on different scales.
It's this incredibly versatile tool we use
Right.
to make sense of the world.
And it also helps us understand
Yeah.
those things that we can't actually see or touch.
Yes, exactly.
Like time, we use calendars and clocks to map the flow of time.
To give it a structure.
Right, or maps and compasses to find our way in space.
To give us a sense of location.
Yeah, like where and when we are.
Exactly. And what's really fascinating is that these scales, these things that feel so fundamental.
Right, like they're just part of the universe.
Yeah, well, they're actually human inventions.
Really?
We impose these frameworks on our experience to create meaning and structure.
So it's not that time is inherently linear?
No.
Or that there are like these fixed cardinal directions?
Yeah.
Those are ideas that we've come up with.
We've developed those, exactly.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
It is, yeah.
Okay, so as we spend more time in this digital world, the book argues that our perception of scale, it kind of detaches from the physical world.
It does, and the book uses a really vivid example.
Okay.
Have you ever scanned a computer hard drive?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Filled with, like, millions of unknown files.
Yeah.
It's a strange feeling, isn't it?
It is. It's like, I don't even know what's in there.
Yeah. And you have this small object getting smaller all the time that can hold this just massive amount of data.
It's like your whole life.
Photos, videos, documents, music, who knows what else.
Right, just crammed into this tiny little thing.
And you could lose it so easily.
Yeah, like in the couch cushions.
Exactly. Gone.
That's a lot different than, boxes of old photos and letters up in the attic.
It's a different kind of archive, isn't it?
It is. It's like the physical has become, I don't know, this abstract digital presence.
And that transformation raises some pretty deep questions.
Yep.
The book asks, if our life's work, our personal history, if it doesn't exist in a form we can touch, what does that mean for its permanence?
Well, that's a good point.
What does it mean for our sense of self?
Yeah.
If our digital lives, which are so vast and intricate, could just vanish because of a technical glitch.
That's a scary thought.
It is, yeah.
I like the title of that section in the book.
Yeah.
The Weight of a Billion Bits.
It's evocative, right?
It is. It really highlights the contrast with the past.
Yeah.
Where, you could see the scale of your work, your life. You could see the stacks of paper.
You could feel the weight of the tools.
Exactly. And now it's all just electrons.
Electrons in code.
Right. And we don't really have a good way of
grasping that scale.
Right.
Yeah.
And the book is the example of like sending an email through packet switching.
Right. It seems so simple.
It does. You just type it up, hit send.
But what's actually happening is incredibly complex. That message is broken into tiny packets, routed across networks, potentially globally, and then reassembled at the destination.
That's wild. I had no idea.
It's kind of like, imagine sending a puzzle in many small pieces that arrive at different times and then have to be put back together.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, and it's very different from, like, say, a handwritten letter.
Right, delivered by hand.
Exactly.
And the book brings up this Chronicle Review headline.
Oh, yeah.
Asking, does email make professors less intelligent?
Right. It's a provocative question.
It is, and it points to these unforeseen consequences of these shifts in scale.
Absolutely, because when something seems weightless and costless, like sending an email, it can lead to these huge changes in behavior.
Okay.
Think about the endless email chains.
Oh, don't get me started.
You reply all?
Ugh. The spam.
The spam.
It's like the medium itself might be affecting our ability to focus.
To think deeply. Exactly.
So this isn't just about computers then?
No, it's much broader.
This is about society.
It's a societal shift.
Okay, so this strangeness of scale, it leads to this idea of interconnectedness. And the unintended consequences of our actions.
Precisely. Yeah.
It's like we're all part of these huge, complex systems.
Systems that we don't always understand.
Right, and our actions can ripple out and cause these unforeseen problems.
And it's not always because we're doing something bad.
Right, it can be well-intentioned.
Yeah, we just don't see the full picture.
Okay, so give me an example.
So the book uses this really simple example.
Okay.
Cash or card?
At the checkout.
At the checkout, yeah.
Okay.
It seems like a simple question, right?
It does, yeah.
But the choice you make
Yeah.
has these layers of consequences.
Oh.
Think about it. If you pay with cash,
Uh-huh.
maybe you get a paper receipt.
Okay.
Well, that means trees had to be cut down.
Right, right.
If you pay with card, there's energy used in processing the transaction.
Okay.
Fossil fuels powering the infrastructure.
It's all connected.
It's all connected.
So even small, everyday decisions,
Yeah.
they're part of these global systems.
Absolutely. And it creates these ethical dilemmas, like using a reusable shopping bag.
Yeah, that's supposed to be good, right?
It's supposed to be good,
Yeah.
but there's energy used in producing that bag.
Okay.
And depending on the material,
Yeah.
there might be other issues with its disposal.
So it's like, how do you even know what the right choice is?
It can be really difficult to make truly informed decisions.
Especially when you start tracing all those connections.
Exactly. And the book lists a whole bunch of these everyday dilemmas.
What?
Like buy or rent,
Oh, yeah.
shop online or in a physical store, fly or have a video call,
Okay.
make your password public or private,
Right.
choose what's sustainable or what's convenient.
It's all about trade-offs.
It is, yeah.
And these personal choices reflect these much larger societal and environmental and technological challenges.
Absolutely.
Wow, it's a lot to think about.
It is.
It feels like all these shifts in scale are making it harder to understand,
Yeah.
like cause and effect.
Cause and effect, yeah.
Like our mental models of how the world works,
They're being disrupted.
the book calls this scale mismatch.
Scale mismatch, exactly.
Okay.
And these scale mismatches can really throw us off.
Okay.
Strategies that used to work, tools, knowledge,
Yeah.
they can become inadequate.
When the scale changes.
When the scale changes dramatically,
Okay.
and it's becoming more and more challenging
Yeah.
to even define the boundaries of problems,
Okay, give me an example.
like improving public education.
Oh, yeah. Good one.
Where do you even start with that?
It's such a big problem.
It is, yeah.
I mean, is it about classroom resources?
Yeah.
Teacher quality?
Uh-huh.
Administration?
Political pressures,
Unions? Tax structures? Community involvement?
historical inequalities.
It's so complicated.
It's a tangled web, right?
It is. And what might have once been seen as a local issue
Yeah.
is now tangled up in these much larger systems.
Exactly.
And the book talks about how we're struggling to
Yeah.
address global issues like climate change.
Right, by all our technology.
Right. We have all these tools, but
It's not
it's not enough.
Yeah.
And it gives the example of Mark Zuckerberg's donation.
Uh-huh. To Newark's public schools.
Right. A huge amount of money.
And yet,
It didn't solve the problem.
it didn't solve the problem.
Because the issues are so deeply rooted.
So systemic.
Systemic, yeah.
Okay, so the book then lists a number of these, well, they seem like failing systems.
Right.
Infrastructure, healthcare, food supply.
Criminal justice.
It's kind of depressing.
It is, yeah. And the book refers to David Brooks's idea
Okay.
of a century of wreckage.
It does feel like that sometimes, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And what's really striking
Is how often we hear the term system failure
Oh, yeah.
across so many different areas.
Like it's become normal?
It has, yeah, and it suggests that just throwing more resources at problems doesn't necessarily solve them.
Because they're so interconnected.
They're so interconnected, exactly.
It's like, where do you even begin to untangle it all?
That's the challenge.
Okay, so this brings us to these two key ideas.
All right.
Loss of material sensibility
Yeah.
and entanglement.
And these are two key shifts
Okay.
that are contributing to this feeling of an unmanageable world.
Okay, so let's unpack those.
Okay, so loss of material sensibility.
Okay.
This idea comes from Nicholas Negroponte,
Okay.
and it refers to this transformation from atoms to bits.
Okay.
Physical objects become invisible streams of ones and zeros.
Right, like documents become digital files.
Exactly. They no longer have that physical presence.
You can't smell the old paper.
Right. You can't feel the weight of the book.
And it's not just physical objects, right?
No, services have undergone this transformation too.
Okay, like what?
Think about banks.
Okay.
They used to be these grand, imposing buildings.
Yes, symbols of stability.
Exactly. And now,
Now, they're apps on our phones.
many of them, yeah.
And I guess the younger generation,
Gen Z.
Gen Z,
Yeah.
they just expect everything to be digital.
Instant, at their fingertips.
It's a totally different way of seeing the world.
It is, yeah.
Okay, so then there's entanglement.
Entanglement, yeah.
This is all about interconnectedness.
It's about the networks.
Okay.
And it creates this strange paradox.
Okay.
Individuals have more power than ever.
Because of the networks.
Because of the networks, yeah.
But they can also feel powerless.
Powerless within those systems.
Okay, I think I see where you're going with this.
The book uses the example of a young couple applying for a mortgage.
Okay.
30 years ago,
Yeah.
they would have gone to their local bank.
Right. Maybe even known the loan officer.
Exactly, a local transaction.
Okay.
But in 2008,
Oh, right.
things were very different.
Yeah.
They might have applied online,
Okay.
never met anyone in person.
Right.
Their mortgage could then be bundled with thousands of others into these complex financial instruments.
Mortgage-backed security.
Mortgage-backed securities, exactly.
Okay.
And then sold to investors around the world.
So their local mortgage
Yeah.
is suddenly connected to the global economy.
Exactly. And their stability could be affected by events in faraway countries.
And that's what happened in 2008, right?
That's exactly what happened.
Okay, so that's one side of the paradox.
Yeah,
The individual feeling powerless.
Right.
But the book also talks about the power of individuals to disrupt these systems.
Yeah, think about hackers.
Right.
Crippling international banks.
That would have been unimaginable a generation ago.
Unimaginable. And it's not just lone hackers.
Okay.
Small cybercriminal groups
Wow.
can attack multinational corporations,
Wow.
even national institutions.
Like the Pentagon.
Like the Pentagon, yeah.
That's kind of scary.
It is. It's this merging of the old,
Yeah.
the fragile physical infrastructure
Right.
with this incredibly interconnected digital network.
It's like a hybrid.
A massive hybrid, yeah.
And it's powerful.
Powerful but overwhelming.
It's like we've shifted from managing farms and highways
And pipelines.
to managing server farms,
Server farms.
data superhighways,
Data superhighways.
data pipelines.
Yeah, it's like we're cultivating information now.
Instead of just life systems.
That's a great way to put it.
And the book mentions this art project,
Oh, yes.
Aaron Barthel's map.
Tell me about it.
So it's these big Google Maps pins
Yeah.
placed in real-world locations.
Right, blurring the lines.
It's like we exist in both spaces now,
We do, yeah.
the physical and the digital,
And it's getting harder to tell them apart.
especially with VR and AR and all that.
Exactly. It's
Oh,
like we're
yes.
living on this thin membrane.
Between the real and the digital, between the real and the digital.
So where does that leave us?
Well, the book then introduces this idea of scale thinking,
Scale thinking. Okay.
and it argues that we're doing it all the time.
Whether we realize it or not.
Whether we realize it or not. Yeah.
All
like
right.
measuring ingredients for a cocktail,
Okay.
deciding if you can lift a child,
Uh-huh.
checking your speed against the limit,
Okay.
choosing the right shoe size.
It's all about scale.
It's all about scale, yeah.
And it's also about understanding
Yeah.
the relationship between different magnitudes.
Small versus large.
Right. And between representations and reality.
Like architectural models
Uh-huh.
or business models.
Okay.
Projecting attributes from one scale to another.
And the book talks about how even disciplines like anthropology
Yeah.
and sociology,
They use scale thinking
right, to understand cultures.
by observing individuals.
It's this ability to project from one scale to another.
Exactly.
So the book argues that to understand the world today, we need to understand scale.
we need to understand scale, absolutely.
Okay, so how does the book go about doing that?
Well, the first part of the book focuses on
Yeah.
examples and analyses of these expanding scales.
Okay.
And then the second part offers tactics and strategies
For navigating this new world,
this perplexing present.
that's like we need to understand the playing field
Uh-huh.
before we can even start playing the game.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's dive into some of those examples.
Okay.
The book starts with this great anecdote about Spinal Tap,
Oh, yeah.
the amplifier that goes to 11.
A classic.
It is so Nigel is so proud of this amp.
Because it goes to 11.
Right, he thinks it's inherently louder
Yeah.
than an amp that only goes to 10.
Right. And Marty's just like, why not make 10 louder?
And Nigel's totally convinced
He calls it metaphysical naturalism.
that those numbers on the dial,
Yeah.
they have this inherent meaning.
Right. But Marty's questioning that.
He's like, do those numbers actually mean anything?
And this whole exchange highlights something really important.
What's that?
Scales are human constructs. They're based on measurement. And they're tools that we use
Yeah,
to give form to experiences.
like speed limits.
Exactly. They regulate the flow of traffic.
Okay.
But we often assume that measurement is infallible.
Right, like it's perfectly scientific and precise.
And the book argues that that's a simplification of a much more complex and often bizarre history.
Okay, so what about when we don't have those standardized scales?
Then we have to invent our own.
We do.
Yeah, like with beer.
Okay.
There's the International Bitterness Units scale.
The IBU scale?
The IBU scale, yeah.
Okay.
Or for chili peppers.
Yeah.
There's the Scoville Heat Unit scale.
Okay.
So we're trying to put numbers on these subjective experiences.
In the spiciness.
Taste and spiciness, exactly.
And how do they even measure that?
Well, the Scoville scale originally used this organoleptic test.
Organoleptic? What does that even mean?
It means it's based on sensory perception, like taste or smell. So people would taste diluted chili extracts to determine their heat level.
That sounds pretty subjective.
It was very subjective, yeah.
Okay, and now?
Now, we use more scientific methods.
Like what?
Like high-performance liquid chromatography to measure capsaicin levels in chili peppers.
Okay.
Or the concentration of isoalpha acids in beer.
For the IBUs.
For the IBUs, yeah.
But there's still subjectivity, right?
Oh, it is, yeah.
Like the malt content in beer can affect how bitter it tastes.
Exactly.
And growing conditions can affect the heat of a chili pepper.
So even with science, there's this human element.
That's fascinating.
It is.
Okay, so the book then talked about this idea of conceptual tautologies. And it tells the story of the international prototype kilogram and how it mysteriously lost weight.
It did, yeah.
And a conceptual tautology.
It's when a definition relies on the thing being defined.
Okay.
So this kilogram, it was supposed to be the standard for mass.
Right, for the whole world.
For the whole world.
But then it changed.
It's got lighter.
And the official definition of the kilogram?
Yeah.
It's kind of circular.
It is. It says the kilogram is a unit of mass. It is equal to the mass of the international prototype of the kilogram.
It's defining itself.
Exactly. It's this platinum iridium cylinder locked away in a vault in France.
And that's it.
That's it.
And scientists were able to redefine other units.
Like the meter, the liter.
Based on physical constants.
Yeah, things that are stable.
But the kilogram
is
stuck on this physical object.
For a long time.
It's like they were measuring it against copies of itself.
Which creates this weird loop, right?
It does, yeah.
How can you be sure the copies are accurate if the original might be changing?
That's a good point.
And it highlights how recent this whole pursuit of precise measurement really is.
I mean, we just assume that these scales have always existed.
But that's not the case at all.
Wow.
The book even mentions that the U.S. adopted the metric system as its official standard.
Way back in 1866.
1866, yeah.
But we still use the imperial system.
We do, yeah.
It's like this tension between wanting a standardized system and just sticking with what's familiar.
The inertia of habit.
The inertia of habit.
Exactly.
And the book mentions John Quincy Adams.
Oh, yeah.
He was a big proponent of a universal system of measurement.
He was. He saw it as a moral imperative.
Really?
Yeah, he believed it was essential for fair trade, for the administration of justice.
For a just society.
Exactly.
Okay, so when did we finally get this international system?
Well, it wasn't until the 20th century.
Okay. Expert.